Hello and welcome to another Python tutorial from Programming to Success. Today we will be continuing with the data structures and types, and we will be looking at dictionaries and sets. Like usual, let's have a quick review of what we looked at in our last video. We talked about lists and some functions you can use with lists, such as the append function for adding items to a list and the del function for deleting items from a list. We learned about tuples and the difference between tuples and lists. And finally, we covered Boolean values and expressions. We talked about some operators you can use and how to use Booleans in your code. Now, let's get on with today's lesson. Dictionaries. Like lists and tuples, a dictionary is a data structure in Python. Unlike lists, dictionaries are unordered, which means that if you change things in a dictionary, the result may be displayed in a different order than how it started out. A dictionary is a way of associating two things to each other. The two things that are associated are called a key and a value, and are known as key-value pairs. A dictionary is a collection of these key-value pairs. Keys and values in dictionaries are inside of curly braces and are separated by a colon. So this is an example of a dictionary. State equals to curly braces Bob, California. Bob and California are inside of quotes because they are strings. And state is the variable name that the dictionary is stored inside of. And as you can see, Bob is the key, California is the value, and they are separated by a colon. So now, let's try typing this out in an IDLE file. So open up a file and just type this in. Say state equals to Bob, California. Now if we print out state and run our code, we'll get Bob, California. The key and the value get printed out by Python. Adding items to a dictionary. To add an item to a dictionary, you do not need to use the append function like we did with lists. You just need to specify the new key and value. So let's say we want to add a key Jack and a value New York to our state dictionary. Then we would just say state, and then in square brackets, the new key, which is Jack, and it has to be inside of quotes because Jack is a string, equals to the new value, the value that you want to be associated with the key. So in this case, the value we want to be associated with the Jack. So that will be New York inside of quotes. Similarly, if you want to create another key and value, you can just say state, the new key, and value. You can just say state Jenny, Texas. So now let's just add this to our code. Say state Jack equals to New York. And similarly, you can just cut and paste this, and you can say state Jenny equals to Texas. Now if we run our code, we will get the new modified dictionary, and Jack and Jenny will be added to it. Nested dictionaries. To have a nested dictionary means to have a dictionary inside of another dictionary, and the syntax for having a nested dictionary is shown below. So for our nested dictionary, let's say we want the key Bob to not only have the state, but the city also. So we would just say state Bob inside of square brackets equals to, and then our nested dictionary, state, California, city, Los Angeles. This is just how you create a nested dictionary, a dictionary inside of a dictionary. So now let's type this into our file and see what we get. So we say state Bob equals to, and then state, California, and city, Los Angeles. And now let's run our code. We will get an error. This is because Python does not know that state is a dictionary because we never defined state to be a dictionary, which is why we get an error, name state is not defined. So if you ever have a problem like this, just type this in your code. Say state equals to, and then two empty curly braces. This is basically saying that the variable name state is going to be used for storing dictionaries. Now, if we run our code, we'll get Bob, State, California, City, Los Angeles, a nested dictionary, and Jack, New York, Jenny, Texas. Accessing keys and values in a dictionary. Now let's just look at some functions you can use with the dictionaries. Now, let's say we just want the keys of our dictionary to get printed out. This is how you would do so. You would say print state.keys, the variable name .keys. And now if we run our code, only the keys will get printed out. It'll say dict, which stands for dictionary, keys, Bob, Jack, Jenny. Only the keys will get printed out. Note that the keys inside of the nested dictionary will not get printed out by Python. Now, if we want just our values to get printed out, similarly, we would just say state.values. And now if we run our code, as you probably know, you'll get dict values, dictionary values, and our values, State, California, City, Los Angeles, New York, and Texas. If you want to check if a key exists in a dictionary or not, you can just say whatever you are checking for in the dictionary you are checking for. So, to make this a bit more clear, we can just say print. Let's say if we want to check if Jack is inside of the key state, we would say print Jack in state. Now if we run our code, we will get true because Python evaluated the dictionary and saw that the key Jack was inside of the dictionary state and returned the Boolean value true back to us. However, if we make a small modification and say Jack with two C's, now we run our code, we'll get false because Python did not see JACC anywhere in our dictionary inside the variable name state. Accessing keys and values continued. Now let's say you want Python to return a particular key inside of a dictionary. This is how you would do it. So let's say you just want Python to return the value of a particular key. Then we would say print state, and let's say we want it to be Bob. We want the value stored inside of the key Bob to be printed back to us. Now if we run it, our code, we'll get State, California, City, Los Angeles. Python printed the value inside of the key Bob back to us. Now, if we want to make this go even further, and we just want the value stored inside of the key State to get printed out, this is how we would do it. We would first say print state Bob because we want something inside of one of these values to get printed out, and then just go even further. We would say the state. Let's say we just want California to get printed out. Now, if we run our code, we'll just get California because Python goes inside of the key Bob, reads this, goes inside of the key state, and prints out the value inside of the key state, which is California. Deleting items from a dictionary. To delete an item from a dictionary, we would use the same del function we used with lists. So let's say we want to delete Jenny from our dictionary. Then we would say del state Jenny because that's what we want to be deleted. And if we print out state, we will get the new dictionary. Jenny will be completely erased from the dictionary. Now, let's say we want to completely clear the entire dictionary. We just want it to be completely empty. Then we can just say state.clear. We can use the .clear function. Now, if we print it out, we will get an empty dictionary with no keys, no values inside of it. Well, that will be it for dictionaries, and let's move on to the next chapter. Now let's get on with chapter 2 of our video, sets. A set is basically an unordered collection of unique elements. Unordered means that the order of the elements in a set does not matter, like we learned earlier with the dictionaries. Unique means that if you have two of the same elements in a set and you print out your set, that element will only occur once. Like lists and dictionaries, sets can be changed. Just like in math, in Python you can find the union of sets and the intersection of sets. The syntax for creating a set is shown below. Variable name and then assignment operator, set, parentheses and square brackets, element 1, and however number of elements you need, separated by commas. Sets can contain integers, strings, or even a mixture of them both as their elements. For example, element 1 can be a string, while element 2 is an integer. Creating sets. Now let's create a set of some numbers. Set 1 equals to set, parentheses, and then square brackets inside of those parentheses, 0, 1, 2, 3. So let's just type this out in a file. We'll say set 1 equals to set, parentheses, and inside of those parentheses, square brackets, 0, 1, 2, 3. This is a set of integers, as you can see. And now, if you print out set 1, set will be printed out. 0, 1, 2, 3 will be printed out inside of curly braces. Now let's try adding items to a set. To add an item to a set, we can use the add function. So let's say we want to add the string hello to our set. This is how we would do so. We would say set1 dot add and then the string hello. Now if we run our code, we'll get 0, 1, 2, 3 hello. As you can see, sets can contain a mixture of integers and strings. Frozen sets. A frozen set is the same thing as a set with one difference. Frozen sets cannot be changed later on in your code, just like tuples. This is how you create a frozen set. So, let's just comment this part out. To comment out an entire region, you can just highlight the region you want to comment, say format, comment out region. This whole part will be commented out. So Python will ignore whatever is here. So now we can say set2 equals to frozen set instead of set, and then parentheses, and instead of square brackets like we used with sets, for frozen sets we use curly braces. And then we can just type in our elements. Let's just say A, B, C, D. And now let's print this out. We will get frozen set B, C, A, D. And as you can see, the order is changed because sets are unordered. The order they come in does not matter. So if we type in A, B, C, D, the order can be changed. In this case, it was changed to B, C, A, D. Now, let's try to add an item to this frozen set. Now let's just try and say set2 dot add. And then what we want to add, let's just say E. Now if we run our code, we'll get frozen set object has no attribute to add. This is because frozen set cannot be changed. You cannot add an element to it, none of that. Just like tuples, frozen sets cannot be changed, so you will get an error if you try to change a frozen set later on in your code. Union of sets. Just like in math, in Python you can calculate the union of sets. So first let's create two new sets. We can just comment out this whole region like we learned earlier. And we can say set 3 equals 2. And then inside of square brackets, because this is a normal set, not a frozen set, we say 6, 12, 3, 7, and 0. Now we can say set 4 equals to set, and then parentheses, square brackets, 5, 7, 2, 0, and 15. The union of sets basically brings together all the elements in both sets and prints them out, and it removes any repetition. For example, since 0 appears in both set 3 and set 4, when Python brings together both sets, 0 will only appear once because elements in a set are unique. So now, to calculate the union, you can just say print set 3 dot union set 4. This will calculate the union of set 3 and set 4. Now if we run our code, we'll get 0, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 12, 15. All the elements in both sets were brought together. However, since 0 and 7 appear in both sets, they're both unique. Sets are unique, so they'll both only appear once. We'll get 0 and 7 appearing only once, not twice. Difference of sets. The difference of sets basically just prints out the elements in a set that is not in the other one. So let's just calculate the difference of sets with the same sets we had earlier, set 3 and set 4. To calculate the difference of sets, we would just say set 3 dot difference set 4. Now, if we run our code, we'll get 3, 12, 6. This is basically just going to print out the elements in set 3 that are not in set 4, which are 6, 12, and 3, because 7 and 0 are in set 4. And as you can see, order does not matter. And if we say set 4 dot difference set 3 and run our code, we'll get 2, 5, 15. This calculates the elements in set 4 that are not in set 3, which are 2, 5, and 15. Operators in sets. These are some operators that you can use with sets. One is the equal to operator. We can say print set 3 equals to set 4. If we run our code, we will get the Boolean value false, because of course, set 3 does not equal to set 4. They are different. Another thing you can say is set 3 less than set 4, like we did with Booleans. Now if we run our code, we'll get false. If you're wondering how this works, this is how Python does it. It looks at the first element in both sets. And set 3's first element is 6. Set 4's first element is 5. Then it calculates that. 6 is less than 5. That's false, so false will be printed out. Another thing you can do with sets is you can check if an element is inside of that set. So we can say 3 in set 3. This will basically check if the element 3 is inside of the variable set 3. We'll get true because in this case 3 is inside of set 3 right here. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next video, which will be coming soon. We'll go further into Python programming and you are on the path to success. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching again, and I'll see you in the next video.